The millionaire is surprised by a timid black woman beggar on an unforgettable first night. The city glittered like 1,000 jewels under the night sky. Limousines gleamed, and the air hummed with the sound of laughter and clinking glasses. Lucas Harrington stood near the entrance of the extravagant gala, cloaked in a tailored suit that spoke of privilege. Yet beneath his composed facade, an unsettling emptiness churned. He scanned the crowd, a sea of wealth and beauty, but nothing stirred his interest. That was until the storm broke. Rain lashed the pavement, thunder rumbled like a giant's roar, and in that chaotic moment he caught sight of Anna. She was small, wrapped in tattered layers, with wide eyes that shone brighter than the city lights. Amid the gloomy weather, she seemed like a strange apparition, fragile yet captivating. A timid beggar, barely scraping by, but with an aura that demanded attention. Lucas's curiosity piqued as she huddled against the wall. Ray. Lucas felt an unshakable connection, something instinctive tugging at his heart. He had always brushed aside the world of the less fortunate as part of the city's landscape, an inconvenience, not worthy of a glance. But Anna was different. With the storm raging outside, Lucas found himself retreating further into the dim lobby, where he was shielded from the elements. That's when Anna entered, water dripping from her hair, her presence overshadowed by the luxury and opulence enveloping them. She looked delicate but fierce, like a wildflower growing through concrete cracks. He approached, uncertain, yet driven by an urge he couldn't ignore. "Would you like to come in?" he asked, surprising himself. She hesitated, then nodded, her expression revealing a mix of hope and fear. Lucas led her inside, away from the murmurs of the affluent crowd, who regarded her with a mix of intrigue and disdain. As they settled in a quiet corner, Anna began to share her story. Her voice shook like each word was a thread unraveling, pulling Lucas closer to a world he had never seen. With every tale, he could hear the pangs of heartbreak. For the first time, he felt something. Compassion, a connection. It sparked within him like a flicker of warmth in the freezing storm. Anna's raw honesty wove into his consciousness, making him rethink everything he had previously shielded himself from. But beneath this budding connection lingered an unsettling truth about his family that he couldn't yet face. Dark shadows chased him through the opulence. Just then, Anna's voice faltered. "You wouldn't understand. People like you've never known what it means to lose everything." Lucas's heart sank. Could he really bridge the chasm between them? The storm outside raged on, echoing the turmoil in his mind. Their worlds were galaxies apart, yet the night felt like it could change everything, or destroy them both. Hey, before we continue with this incredible story, I need to give you an important warning. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube removed their subscriptions without prior notice. Take a quick look at the red button below to make sure you are still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content coming up. And since you're here, leave that powerful like. That helps me a lot with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, from which city are you watching this? I love getting to know every amazing person who is part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact. Anna's words lingered in the air, heavy and taut, like the storm outside. Lucas felt the sharp edge of her truth cut deep. He opened his mouth to respond, to somehow prove her wrong. But a sudden crash interrupted him. The doors of the gala, gasps rippled through the crowd. A figure swayed in the entrance, a man, drenched and wild-eyed. He looked frazzled, out of place among the glamorous guests, yet the frantic energy around him commanded attention. Lucas squinted. There was something about the man, something achingly familiar. "Lucas!" the stranger shouted, his voice breaking through the music and chatter. I need to talk to you. Now." The room fell silent. All eyes turned to Lucas. Confusion and curiosity flashing on the faces around him. Not many knew him, but the urgency in this man's voice stirred something deep within the polished facade that Lucas wore. He felt a jolt, raw and unexpected. "Who are you?" Lucas asked, narrowing his gaze, trying to push the swirling anxiety aside. "It's Tom, your brother." The admission hung in the air like the clank of a shattered glass. Lucas's heart raced. Tom? His estranged brother? An emptiness swelled within Lucas that mirrored the storm raging outside. Memories, forgotten and buried. He had always pushed them aside, convinced himself that the past was behind him. Tom stumbled across the marble floor, shaking, drenched. "I had to find you. It's urgent. There's no time." Anna's eyes widened with uncertainty. Lucas turned to her, searching for some grounding, but she looked just as bewildered, caught between the storm's wrath and Lucas's personal tempest. "Why now?" Lucas clenched his fists. "What could you possibly want after all this time?" Tom took a shaky breath, his face twisting with pain. "You're in danger, Lucas. They're after you. After all of us." The shock in the room intensified, whispers erupting, guests exchanging glances filled with disbelief and judgment. Lucas felt exposed, raw. "Who's after me?" "There's no time," Tom insisted, desperation lingering in his voice. "I heard them talking. About a family legacy, about you. They want to destroy everything your father built. You have to come with me, now." Lucas flicked his gaze to Anna, whose wide eyes mirrored his own shock but also a flicker of understanding. The fragile connection they had forged tonight now felt precarious, as if it could shatter at any moment. Torn between two worlds, he was pulled by familial loyalty and the dreams he hesitated to let go. "But I can't just leave," Lucas said, confusion coursing through him. "Anna." Before he could finish, the ground shook. A loud bang echoed, vibrating through the gala. Cries erupted as people stumbled backward. Lucas spun around, panic radiating from the crowd. A group of men, clad in black, stormed in, their faces masked, their intent clear. "Get him!" one shouted, pointing straight at Lucas. In that moment, time slowed. Lucas felt the warmth draining from him as he turned back to Anna, whose expression shifted from shock to fierce determination. Without thinking, she grabbed his hand, lightly yet securely, and pulled him toward the exit. "Trust me," she urged, and despite everything, he nodded, feeling the urgency pulse between them. "Together," he yelled to Tom, who was wide-eyed but unyielding. They sprinted as the chaos erupted around them, the screams drowning in the sound of the storm. Lucas held on to Anna, their fingers intertwined, desperation and fear pushing them forward. But somewhere in his gut, doubt twisted. Could he really trust her? Was she part of this unfolding nightmare? He glanced back once, just once, and in that fleeting moment, the darkness in his brother's eyes told him everything he feared. The storm outside was nothing compared to the tempest brewing within. Would the night swallow them whole? The chaos swirled around them, an explosive whirlwind of fear and uncertainty. Lucas felt Anna's grip tighten, her small hand anchoring him amid the frenzy. The masked men surged forward, voices raised in threats, their intention as clear as the storm outside. But all that thunder and clatter faded into the background when he caught a glimpse of Tom's face, wide-eyed and terrified, like a deer caught in headlights. "Come on," Anna urged, pulling Lucas toward the side exit, their footsteps echoing against the marble floor as they dashed away from the growing turmoil. Lucas's heart pounded in his ears, each beat a reminder of the moments slipping away. Tom followed closely, his breath ragged. "They can't find you, not after what I learned." His voice broke off as a shot rang out, sharp and penetrating, sending a shockwave through Lucas's chest. "Keep running," Anna cried. But fear laced her voice, and Lucas sensed the tension mounting, threatening to snap. They burst through the door into the rain-soaked street, gasping for air. The storm felt alive, blurring the edges of the city lights, drowning out their surroundings in a cacophony of sound. "Where do we go?" Lucas shouted, looking back. Shadows darted through the doorway behind them, emerging from the gala like dark wraiths. "Anywhere but here!" Tom yelled, his voice fraying at the edges. He pointed down a narrow alleyway, and they sprinted, the slick pavement churning underfoot. But as they reached the alley's end, Lucas hesitated, confusion knitting his brow. "What's going on, Tom? Why now?" Tom turned, his expression shifting from panic to something darker, something steely. "Because it's time for you to know the truth." The words hung heavy in the air, and Lucas felt a shudder crawl up his spine. "What truth?" Suddenly, Anna released Lucas's hand, stepping back. Her wide eyes were sharp, piercing through the mayhem. "Tom, don't!" "What do you mean?" Lucas asked, increasingly uneasy. "Lucas," Tom said, his voice lower, intense, "you had to hear that man tonight at the gala. He's been searching for you, for your family." "What are you talking about?" Lucas felt. "Wait, what?" Lucas stared at Tom, incredulity dawning. "You're telling me what?" "After the accident, I was sent away. They didn't want anyone knowing," Tom explained, his hands shaking. "I found out who I was, who you are. You think I abandoned you? They erased me, erased us from your life." Each word felt like a stitch unraveling in Lucas's mind, emotions flickering between betrayal and an unrelenting ache. "But why would they want to hurt me now?" "Because," Tom said, his voice dropping, "the legacy your father built is worth killing for, and they think you're right in the center of it." The reality crashed over Lucas like the rain cascading down, a wave engulfing him. Behind them, the dark figures slipped silently into the alley, closing in, fragments from the gala mixing with haunting specters of his childhood, secrets long buried. "Lucas!" Anna blurted, as fear snatched her voice. The answer loomed. Could everything he knew be built on shadows? Trust teetered like glass. And then it struck him. A feeling colder than the rain, colder than the fear. "Are you really my brother?" he whispered, dread curdling in his stomach. Anna's gasp cut through the pouring rain. All doubt hung in the air, twisting like the storm. Would the night consume them whole? And which family would he choose to fight for? "Are you really my brother?" Lucas whispered, dread curling in his stomach. Anna's gasp was sharp against the pounding rain, her expression shifting from confusion to a blend of fear and resolve. The darkness of the alley felt thicker, the shadows around them pulsing with their own intent. "Lucas, there's no time. They're coming." Tom's urgency was a jolt, pulling them back into the chaos that surged behind them. The masked figures loomed nearer, their shouts echoing like thunder, threatening to drown the fragile secrets unveiled in the storm. But Lucas was lost in the whirlwind of confusion and desperation. His world was fracturing into pieces. "Tom, if you're my brother, then what happened to Mom and Dad?" The words tumbled out, jagged and raw. A flicker of sorrow crossed Tom's face before he hardened. "Mom's gone. Dad, he was a monster. But you were safe, hidden." "Hidden?" The truth tasted bitter on his tongue. "You're saying my whole life is a lie?" Then, as if summoned by destiny or chaos, a blinding flash lit up the alley, illuminating the dark figures in stark relief. Time slowed, breaths caught in throats. A sharp pop echoed off the walls. A gunshot. The sound shattered everything. Lucas turned in horror, his heart leaping into his throat. Tom staggered backward, eyes widening as blood blossomed across his chest like crimson petals against the night. "No!" Lucas screamed, rushing forward, shock paralyzing him. He reached out, grasping Tom's shirt, feeling the warmth of life slipping away. "Lucas," Tom's voice was strained, dripping with pain. "You have to run. They want you." His breath came in ragged spurts, as if each word took strength from him. "You're—" But then the light faded from his eyes. The storm of life extinguished. Lucas felt his knees buckle, collapsing as he cradled Tom's lifeless body, panic coursing through him like a wildfire. Tears blended with rain, a torrential mix of sorrow and shock. "Tom!" he cried, but the only answer was the echo of his voice against the unforgiving walls. Anna stood frozen, terror in her features, but then she snapped into focus. "Lucas, we have to go, now!" Her voice pierced through the numbness, yanking him back to reality. A sudden movement from the figures in black sent a bolt of fear through him. They were closing in, their intent unmistakable. He could feel the weight of their eyes, but a deeper instinct kicked in. "No, not like this. Trust me." Anna grabbed his arm, pulling him back into motion as chaos erupted around them, desperation rallying him to his feet. They sprinted back through the alley, the rain drenching them, but the world had shifted. What was once a clear light of safety began crumbling in the wake of loss. Every heartbeat screamed for survival. Was his brother really dead? The weight of that truth pressed down heavily on his chest. As they turned the corner, a bright light from above caught Lucas's eye. A familiar insignia glowed in the dark. His heart raced and dread curled once more. "The hotel. They're waiting for me." "Just keep running," Anna urged, her voice breaking over the pounding rain. But as they sprinted toward the entrance, Lucas felt a shiver of another realization slice through him. Something deeper. "Anna, who are you really?" Her expression shifted, a flicker of something darker rippling behind her calm facade. "I'm here to protect you, Lucas." But his gut twisted. Protect me or use me? Just then, a loud crash echoed behind them. The masked figures spilled into view, a storm of shadows chasing them closer. "Lucas!" Anna shouted, her grip tightening. "We can't let them catch us!" The truth unraveling in his mind collided with the terror surging around him. "I don't know if I can trust you." Their footsteps pounded harder against the rain-slick pavement, but flying bullets and broken memories blurred the lines of allegiance. Everything felt sharp, on the edge of splintering. With a sudden burst of clarity, he pushed toward the nearest exit. "Can we just leave this night behind?" But Anna's eyes glinted, shadows swirling within. "Nothing can be left behind. You need to face who you are." The storm was swirling both inside and out, and as they fled, Lucas realized he had one choice: run toward the truth or let it consume him whole. Tom's last words echoed in his mind, shattering his resolve. "You're part of it." Would he ever know what it truly meant? The rain hammered down like a drum, a constant reminder of the chaos swirling around them. Lucas felt Anna's grip, her fingers digging into his skin, and he pushed through the fog of confusion. They dashed down the alley, the thunder rumbling in sync with the pounding of his heart. "Lucas, just trust me. We can't stop," Anna shouted, her voice slicing through the storm. But doubt twisted in his gut, nagging like a persistent itch. What was her real agenda? He glanced at her, uncertainty flickering between them, the weight of Tom's words hanging heavy in the air. Then he heard it, a low growl, primal and deep, echoing through the shadows. He turned instinctively, fear racing up his spine. The masked figures were closing in, their movements too quick, too purposeful. "Faster," he urged, pulling Anna along. They stumbled onto the street, the city lights blurred by the relentless rain. Each heartbeat thudded in his ears as they raced toward a nearby parking garage. The sound of footsteps echoed behind them, relentless like the storm. He couldn't shake the feeling that they were more than just shadows. They were hunters. "Lucas!" Anna's voice broke through his thoughts, and he turned to see her face twisted in fear. "We need to split up. It'll be harder for them to follow both of us." "Are you crazy?" Panic surged. "I'm not leaving you. Please!" Her eyes were intense, pleading. "I can create a distraction. Just go!" He shook his head, battling against the ache of the night, the chaos roiling around them. But then he saw the figures at the entrance of the garage, their movements almost predatory. Determination, tinged with desperation, weighed on his heart. "Fine," he shouted, swallowing down the fear. "But you be careful." Before he could reconsider, she nodded and darted across the street, her form swallowed by the darkness. Lucas barely had time to process the split before he slipped into the garage, searching for a place to hide. His breath was ragged, his mind racing. As he crept forward, he heard muffled voices echoing off the concrete walls. The masked men were in the garage. Nearby, a shudder ran through him. He ducked behind a row of cars, every muscle tensed, waiting for the right moment. Suddenly, a loud bang reverberated through the space. He jumped, heart racing like a trapped animal. Shadows flickered closer. His pulse quickened, eyes darting as he pressed himself against the cold metal of a car. Then it happened. A figure emerged from the darkness, illuminated by the pale glow of the overhead lights. It wasn't a masked man. It was Tom. But something wasn't right. Lucas. His voice was shaky, but determination lit his eyes. "Tom, I thought—" But before he could finish, the truth crashed over him. Tom's stance was wrong, unsteady, his shoulders hunched forward. "You're hurt." "Listen," Tom interrupted, urgency clawing at his voice. "They're here. They're coming for you." But then, with a sudden lurch, Tom doubled over, clutching his chest. Lucas's heart sank as the sickening realization hit him. No, 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 not again. He rushed forward, panic quickening his steps. "Lucas, you have to know. Before." Tom gasped, blood bubbling at his lips. The sight of it froze Lucas, pain radiating from his core. "Before what, Tom? What do you mean?" Tears mixed with rain, blurring his vision. "Before you find out the truth." Those words hung like a dark cloud, heavy and oppressive. "Anna isn't who you think she is. She's—" Then, with a final shudder, Tom collapsed, eyes wide and unseeing. The world tipped upside down. Lucas stumbled back, heart hammering. Had Tom just died in his arms? And what was Anna hiding? Before he could process the devastation, the sound of footsteps thundered toward him from the darkness. He was running out of time. "Lucas, they're here!" a voice yelled from the entrance. It wasn't Anna. His breath caught. Confusion swept through him like wildfire. It was their father, a man he thought long dead. Lucas stood frozen, horror clutching him. "Lucas, come with me, now!" Everything crashed together in a maelstrom of chaos and disbelief. Dealings, betrayal, family. Could he really trust this man? Questions tangled in his mind, a storm threatening to consume him. What was the truth? And what would it cost him to find out? "Lucas, come with me, now!" The urgency in his father's voice shot through Lucas like an electric jolt. In that moment, everything he thought he knew crumbled. Memories rushed in, faint faces, smiles edged in warmth, whispers of bedtime stories and laughter. But those memories clashed violently with the reality of the man standing in front of him. A man once thought to be dead. "Dad, you You're alive?" It came out more like a plea than a question, his voice thick with confusion. But his father's expression was hard, unreadable. "There's no time to explain. We need to get you out of here. They are coming for you, Lucas. Your safety is the only thing that matters." A surge of anger coursed through him. All those years of absence, all those unanswered questions. You left us. "I did what I had to do, for your protection." His father's voice was clipped, each word edged with an urgency that sent tremors through Lucas. But before he could respond, a crashing sound echoed from the far end of the garage, breaking his moment of clarity. Shadows loomed in the darkness, moving quickly, closing in. "Lucas, this way!" His father grabbed his arm, pulling him toward the exit. But the world felt unsteady. His heart raced faster than his footsteps as dread filled the air. Anna's face hovered in his mind, the confusing blend of anger and loyalty swirling within him. What did he truly know? They darted past the cars, diving deeper into the labyrinth of steel and concrete. But Lucas couldn't shake off the nagging feeling. Where was Anna? Had she made it out? "Dad, we have to go back. Anna!" But his father shook his head, the urgency in his eyes, warning him to focus on survival. "She'll find her way. We have to move." Then the lights flickered violently, plunging the garage into a stuttering darkness just as the figures burst through the doorway. Their masked faces hardened like statues, predators in search of their prey. "Go, now!" His father pushed Lucas forward. Then, out of the chaotic shadows, Anna emerged, breathless and wild-eyed. She seemed like a beacon, filled with something fierce. "Lucas, I found a way out!" Relief washed over him, but it was short-lived. His father's face twisted into something dangerous. "Stay away from her." The words struck like ice. "What? She's trying to help." "I said stay away." The tones sliced through the air, anger vibrating in every syllable. But Anna wasn't backing down. "Lucas, listen to me. Your father is hiding something." "What?" The question hung, heavy with doubt and anticipation. Suddenly, the space reverberated with gunfire. A shot rang out, piercing the chaos. Lucas's heart dropped. He turned to see his father stumble, hand clutching his side, blood spilling like ink against the pale concrete. "Dad!" Lucas shouted, shock rushing through him. But instead of falling, his father's expression shifted. Pain turned into something cold and calculating. "It was never about protecting you. It was about control," he gasped, eyes narrowing. Lucas's breath caught in his throat. "Control?" Anna stepped closer, filled with fierce determination, unyielding. "You were never safe, Lucas. It was all an illusion." The terrified realization dawned on him. "What are you talking about?" Then, Lucas felt it, like a punch in the gut. The masked figures were no longer targeting him. They shifted, aiming at Anna instead. "No!" A shred of hope flickered in his chest, wanting to believe in their connection. But it quickly faded as she looked at him, her eyes filled with something he hadn't recognized before. Fear mixed with resolve. "Lucas, we can't let this happen. You have to fight." But the chaos enveloped them like a wave, drowning every thought. "Stop!" Lucas cried as arrows of panic shot through him. "Don't hurt her!" But another shot rang out, louder now. The world splintered. Suddenly, Anna was caught in the crossfire, the impact knocking her to the ground, eyes wide, like glass. "No!" Everything shattered, leaving Lucas breathless, knees buckling. The weight of betrayal and loss crashed in waves. He was stuck, paralyzed, horror unraveling his sense of reality. "What have you done? Do you see now?" His father's face twisted in sudden malice as he advanced, oblivious to the storm swirling around them. This was all part of the plan, and in that moment a truth ignited, raw and undeniable. Would the night swallow them whole, or would he find a way through this tempest of twisted loyalties and shocking betrayals? Do you see now? His father's face twisted with malice, and Lucas felt his heart race. This was all part of the plan. The truth hit Lucas like a freight train, cold and unforgiving. Control? The word slipped from his lips, heavy with disbelief. But before he could absorb the weight of it, Anna lay there, her form still, blood pooling beneath her. Time warped, fear running rampant like fire through his veins. "Stop!" he yelled, panic seizing him, but the air cracked with danger, all life hanging by a thread. Shadows pranced in the far edges of his mind, whispering threats, and he could only focus on the chaos unraveling before him. As Lucas turned, another figure emerged from the shadows behind his father. A woman with striking features and eyes burning like stars in the night. Something familiar flickered in her expression. "Isabella?" His voice cracked like thunder, jolting him back to distant memories. His mother had vanished all those years ago. Was she truly standing before him now? "Lucas." The word trembled in the air, filled with a mixture of sorrow and inexplicable power. "I never wanted you to find out this way." Confusion churned in his gut, turning into a storm of disbelief. "You're alive? But how? Why all this?" "Because you need to know the truth." Her voice dripped with urgency. "There are forces beyond your father's control, things you've inherited. Is that why you abandoned us?" Anger broke through the disbelief. "You let him hurt us!" Before she could respond, the masked figures crashed deeper into the garage, their presence punctuating the moment. "Get them!" one shouted, voice sharp as glass. Lucas felt a surge of adrenaline, pulling him to the center of the turmoil. He gripped Anna's wrist, the panic in his chest rising with each beat. "We need to go." "No," Isabella shouted, grounding them both. "Don't you see, the legacy? It is both a gift and a curse. You were meant to lead us." "What? Lead who?" The words escaped his mouth like an accusation, his heart racing with betrayal. "Us," Isabella whispered, suddenly fierce. "I led a group for years, protecting you, keeping you away from the darkness that your father controls." Darkness enveloped him, confusion sharpening every breath. "You're part of this? Is this all a game to you? I lost years without knowing." "You need to understand," she snapped, desperation pricking her voice. "We've been followed, hunted." Then the truth crashed like a tidal wave, overwhelming and explosive. "Lucas!" Tom's lifeless body lay sprawled, the shock of his death a bitter reminder of the chaos ripping through them. Isabella turned sharply, seizing the moment. "You have to choose. We can escape together. You have the power." The urgency in the air thickened as the masked figures closed in, weapons raised. The air pulsed with tension, the world narrowing to a focused point, fear and desperation converging. Then, amid the clamor, glass shattered in the distance. An explosion resonated, sending a jolt of pressure rippling through the garage. For a heartbeat, everything froze, a collective gasp swallowing the noise. As smoke billowed in, enveloping them in chaos, Lucas caught a glimpse of Anna, fear etched in her features, uncertainty curling her lips. "Lucas," she whispered, fighting to reach him through the panic. But as he reached for her, Isabella stepped forward, urgency snapping in her tone. "We need to go now, unless you want this to be your grave." Beneath the swirling smoke, the threat of betrayal slipped like sand through his fingers. Lucas's heart raced. Could he trust this woman claiming to be his mother? Then the figures began to retreat, their faces unraveling in the haze. "We'll find you," one shouted, anger fueling their escape. In that moment, the weight of choices hung heavy around him. The night didn't just threaten to swallow them whole. It promised to obliterate what they thought they knew. His heart thundered in his chest as the realization hit him. Trust was a fragile thread, barely holding them together. Would he step into the smoke, embracing the truth, or would he hold on to the fading hope that everyone was truly who they claimed to be? The smoke curled around them, a thick haze swallowing the light. Lucas blinked hard, caught between the sobering weight of his tangled past and the chaos crashing around him. His heart thudded in his chest as Isabella stepped forward, urgency radiating from her. "Lucas, come on, we need to go now." The intensity in her voice made his skin prickle with alarm. He glanced back at Anna, still sprawled on the ground, blood pooling like dark ink. "Help her," he begged, but Isabella shook her head, her eyes glistening with a fierce fire. "You can't save everyone right now. We need to escape." Before Lucas could respond, the masked figures approached, leaving a trail of uncertainty hanging in the air. They moved like hunters, confident and menacing. "Get this one," one shouted, and Lucas felt the tension rush through him. His breath came faster. "What do you want from me?" He turned back to his father, the man who had betrayed him, pain etched across his features. "Lucas," his father gasped, clutching his side, blood seeping through his fingers like a vivid painting. But determination flickered in his eyes. "You need to understand." But before he could finish, a deep rumble echoed overhead. The lights flickered violently, casting erratic shadows. The ground shuddered beneath them. "Wait!" Lucas shouted. But before he could grasp the implications, the walls shook violently. A horrendous crash rang out, shattering reality around them. Everything took a breath as the world tilted. A massive section of the ceiling buckled, crumbling down like a cascade of rocks. The air filled with choking dust and debris. "Move!" Isabella screamed, yanking him just as a slab of concrete crashed where they stood moments before. Lucas barely held on to his sanity as they stumbled away from the chaos, adrenaline coursing through him. But in the madness, as he ran, he heard a faint wail, a scream that pierced through the cacophony of chaos. It was Anna. His heart thundered in his chest. He pivoted, sprinting toward her, but Isabella struck his arm. "No, we have to keep moving. No, she's in trouble." Panic surged, every instinct screaming at him to protect her. But another voice, rich and familiar, broke through the storm. The woman from the shadows, Isabella's words tangling like vines around Lucas's mind. Lucas! Not just his mother, but someone else too. He turned to the voice, and there stood a figure, emerging from the smoke like an apparition. A woman he recognized from old family photos, her features a blend of warmth and strength. "Mom?" Everything froze. Reality upended. "You're alive? I've been here." Her voice a soft, honeyed whisper. Then the air shifted, a weight heavier than betrayal pressing down on him. The masked figures hesitated, caught off guard by the unexpected reunion. Lucas felt a surge of hope, but doubt twisted his stomach. "Why didn't you come for us?" he shouted, pain knotting his voice. "I had to keep you safe, Lucas. Your father—" Her voice faltered, and for a heartbeat they stood still. Lucas felt the anger and confusion bubble dangerously close to the surface. "Safe? You call this safe?" But then it hit him cold and hard. "You never left, did you? You chose to be here." Another figure appeared from the shadows, stepping past the wreckage like a ghost. A man, tall and imposing. Lucas's heart sank. "No." Lucas gasped, recognizing the familiar features that echoed his own. The man who had chased him, the man who had pushed them apart. "Dad." The word felt foreign on his tongue. "Lucas, listen." His father's tone was grave, tense, an edge of desperation making the words tremble. And with that moment, confusion twisted. Around them the smoke thickened, merging faces and truths into an unrecognizable mashup of horror, a family built on deception. Before Lucas could process the enormity of it all, the masked figures lunged, their weapons raised. In the chaos, everything shifted like a hurricane, and one word echoed deep, a truth concealed beneath layers of lies. Lucas! Isabella's cry broke the air, urgency pulsing through her tone. But all at once, the ground trembled again, shaking with a force that sent them flying. The entire garage felt ready to collapse, crashing down on secrets long held. And in that moment, as the world caved in, Lucas's thoughts spiraled, the pieces clattering together. Who was truly in control? And what had he inherited beyond blood? The truth unraveled, like threads pulled taut, ready to snap. Would he fight for a family, or break free from the chains of betrayal? The darkness surrounded him, threatening to pull him under, and with a final jolt, the world spun, leaving him grasping for answers in the suffocating storm of chaos. Where did loyalty reside when betrayal lay at every turn? The night was far from over. The smoke thickened, the garage a chaotic mess of debris and confusion. Lucas blinked, heart pounding, the air heavy with questions and dread. His father's menacing presence loomed over him, a tidal wave of past betrayals surging just beneath the surface. Lucas, listen, we need to. But the words choked in his father's throat as the ceiling vibrated, dust swirling like a storm. The world was tilting, anxious, ready to collapse. Lucas's thoughts raced. Get out now! He turned to his mother, searching her face for the answers that felt just out of reach. But then another explosion rattled the air, brighter this time, pushing them backward. Mom! He yelled, but she barely budged, eyes fixed on the shadows gathering around them. Suddenly, as if time stopped, the front entrance blew apart. Fire and light tore through the darkness, revealing a new figure silhouetted against the blaze. Lucas squinted, thrown off guard by the sudden chaos. It was a woman, but not just any woman. A familiar face, one from old family photos. Who? Lucas started, but then realization hit him like a freight train. Emily? His sister. The sister he thought was gone forever, lost in the wreckage of their family's past. But before he could process the shock, Emily stepped forward, seemingly unbothered by the chaos. Lucas, we don't have time. We have to leave. Lucas's heart raced. You're alive? How? Where have you been? Questions halted as he heard the urgency in her voice. Later. Just grab Mom and let's go. But his feet wouldn't move. The weight of disbelief pulled him down. You don't understand. I need answers. No! She shouted, voice slicing through the smoke. You need to trust me. There's no time for this. And just like that, the figures moved again, closing them in. Masks glimmered in the half-light as they threatened to spring forward. With a sudden rush, Lucas felt something snap in him, his heart racing, body responding without thought. He pushed past his father, feeling every ounce of pain that had built over the years flood through him. You're not going to control me anymore. Emily's smile flickered in the dim light, fierce and solid. Make a choice. We can escape together. This isn't over. But just as they began to move, another gunshot rang out, a sharp crack that split the air, and Lucas turned just in time to see his father, collapsing to the ground. Dad! Lucas yelled, the word a raw edge of desperation. With a flicker of a moment that stretched eternity, the masked figures hesitated. Some stumbled back as shock erupted in their eyes. Get the girl, one shouted, panic creeping into his tone. Lucas! Emily's eyes met his, filled with a wild, frantic urgency. We need to go now. The fight in his gut burned bright, but confusion started to seep in as he watched his father struggle against the ground, blood pooling beneath. But what is happening? Then it hit, a sudden realization, like an anvil dropped onto his chest. Emily, why are they calling for you? Because, she hesitated, pain dancing in her eyes. I'm their leader. The world tilted again, shock freezing his veins. What? No, "You can't be!" But the words echoed back, bittersweet and twisted, a mirror of his shattered heart. As Emily stepped forward, shadows closing in, dread carved deeper into his core. Who had he believed in? Everything he thought he knew shattered like glass. He felt it crack beneath his feet. "Take the chance, Lucas. Fight with me." And as the air thickened with tension, Lucas felt trapped between loyalty and betrayal, each heartbeat a reminder of the storm surrounding them. "Will you stand with me?" That question hung in the air, the weight of 1,000 truths swirling in the chaos. And just like that, as the masked figures lunged, Lucas realized this night could never be simple again. It had twisted into something dark and profound, leaving him on a razor's edge. Could he trust his sister? Would he follow her into this unknown? And would he fight, or would he fall like everything he thought he knew? The smoke swirled like a living thing, curling against the concrete walls and flooding the air with chaos. Lucas's heart raced, the moment stretched as reality twisted and turned around him. His sister stood there, fierce and determined, but shadows loomed close, masked figures moving like wolves ready to pounce. "Emily, please," he yelled, panic clawing through him. "What do you mean you're their leader?" "There's no time for questions," Emily snapped, urgency rippling through her voice. "We need to escape, now, or we'll end up like—" The echo of gunfire rang sharply, slicing through the commotion, and Lucas felt his guts tighten as his father staggered, clutching his wound. The world around him spun, time fracturing into pieces of despair. "Lucas, I love you. I did it for you." His father's voice broke through the fog. "Did what? Ruin our lives?" Rage surged through him. "You deceived us." Emily stepped forward, fierce resolve etching her features. "Focus, Lucas. We have to go, now." But then out of the shadows, Anna's voice rang out, gritty but strong. "I'm not leaving without you two." She emerged, her face streaked with dirt and determination, clutching a small bag. He couldn't breathe. "Anna, you came back. I'm not letting you fight this battle alone." In that moment, a blast rocked the space, overwhelming noise and chaos swallowing them whole. A section of the ceiling crashed down, sending dust and debris flying. Lucas lunged for Emily, grabbing her wrist just as a massive beam descended and shattered nearby. "Run!" Anna shouted, her eyes fierce. "Now!" They sprinted together, dodging through falling rubble, the heat of the fire crawling behind them. Lucas's heart raced at the thought of losing them again. "I'll find a way out," Emily yelled, leading the charge. "Stay close," he called, but the chaos growling around them threatened to engulf him whole. One figure lunged at them, but Anna pivoted, quick and nimble, driving her elbow into the masked assailant. Lucas felt a surge of pride, overshadowed by the urgency of escape. Outside, rain poured in sheets, washing away the remnants of the battle behind them. They tumbled into the street, adrenaline pumping through their veins. "What now?" Lucas gasped, legs trembling beneath him. "Get to the docks," Emily urged, breathless yet resolute. "We have a boat waiting." But just then, the hunt was back on. More shadows emerged from the haze, the masked men pursuing them like ravenous wolves. "Go! I'll hold them off," Anna shouted, determination flooding her voice. "No, we can't leave you." Lucas's heart raced. "Just go," she yelled again, a painful edge to her voice. And then she charged back, fearlessly confronting the chaos behind them with fierce bravery. "Anna!" he cried out, fear gripping his insides. "Lucas, trust me!" The words ignited a flame within him. They took off toward the docks, the wind whipping at their skin, but behind them, chaos erupted. As they reached the docks, the boat loomed in the distance, a lifeline against the storm. "Step on it," Emily urged, hope surging like wildfire. They climbed aboard, the boat creaking under their weight, and as Lucas glanced back, he saw Anna fighting valiantly, a silhouette against the chaos. "She's brave," he whispered, pride mingled with desperation. Emily clutched his arm, her eyes fierce with conviction. "We have to leave, Lucas. We can't look back." A final explosion ripped through the night, and at that moment, Lucas knew the choice was made. He'd have to grapple with the past, the lies and betrayals. But for now, they had a chance to get away, to forge a new path. The engine roared to life as they sped away into the darkness, raindrops drenching them, carrying the weight of what they'd lost. Deep inside, uncertainty simmered. What awaited them ahead? As the shoreline faded, he breathed in the salty air, determination sparking anew. It was time to uncover the truth, to break free from the chains of betrayal. Would they find answers? Would they confront what lay ahead? As the night stretched around them, the truth remained a flickering flame in the distance, promising revelations yet to come. And now, dear friends, it's your turn. You need to subscribe now to the channel so you don't miss the upcoming exclusive stories of Lucas, Anna, and Emily. This is the moment to show your support. Smash that like button now to boost the algorithm. And don't wait 1 second more to flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about the ending. What do you think happens next? Share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to know this thrilling conclusion. True fans know the importance of supporting the channel with these actions. Make your voice count.